epic if I had a fantastic sounding car. So I've just left Rome recently, where I picked up my rental car. And if you're following me on Instagram, you'll have known what car it is already, because you guys voted for it. If not, I'll reveal it when I get to my first stop off. So I know I said I wouldn't talk to you until my first stop. We're getting close, but I just felt a need to address something that will really be relevant to all the American viewers. Driving the highways here it's a big pleasure. The traffic etiquette is so good. Like 90% of people or more. So far I've only encountered one person that was really kind of incompetent, but maybe they were like a foreigner like me, who knows. But the vast majority of people in here know exactly what they're doing and how to drive. They drive on the right-hand side of the road. Unless they're passing everyone, then they're on the left. It's really great, and people really recognize and respect when you get out of their way without them having to ride your bumper. Like, as soon as I get over, when I see somebody coming up behind me, they always get their little lights flash. Like, you can tell that people appreciate this type of thing, and people know how they're supposed to be driving. So, thank you, Italy. Okay, so I made it to somewhere to stop off for the night, and it is the Alfa Romeo Giulietta. So this is what all of you guys who follow me on Instagram voted for as a car that I should rent out of the choices, and I have to say I'm pretty happy with it. I'll be talking a lot more about it once we get driving through the Alps tomorrow, but some couple first impressions now that I've gotten to drive it for quite a few miles. I like it. Overall, it's pretty nice. A few little notable things about it. The interior is pretty high quality, I would say. I like this kind of, I think it's just plastic, but it looks nice. Everything is like pretty solid. And the dash display is pretty standard. The steering wheel was very comfortable, and the shifter feels good. We'll talk more about that later. It seems to have kind of a hill start assist, which was definitely handy, and I kind of found that when I was creeping up an off-ramp a little bit ago. So I've been sitting in this car for the last about 5.5 hours, and I have to say it's been pretty comfortable. My back doesn't hurt at all, legs get a little bit stiff. It has cruise control, which worked quite nicely. The seats were nicely bolstered, but very comfortable. It wasn't excessive. In the room now, and I gotta say, for a last minute grab, this place is actually pretty sweet. I'm getting way too skinny. Need to get to the gym. Haven't been eating a whole lot and doing a lot of walking and no working out. But yeah, looks pretty nice. Anyway, I'm pretty beat. I'm gonna maybe go down to the bar, see if I can get a drink there, and then get a good night's rest, and head out in the morning. And I will catch up with you in the Alps. Well, it is day 2 of the drive, and we are off to the Alps now. And you know how I was praising the Italian drivers? Well, right now, I have a lady behind me that's just like straddling both lanes. Why is that okay? By the way, did I tell you where I'm going? So I started out in Rome, I think you already knew that, and my ultimate destination is Zurich, which is in Switzerland. So we're driving up through the center of Italy, and we're going to go through the Alps, through Stelvio Pass, and then on through Switzerland to Zurich. just entering the Alps now. I'm kind of at the foot of the mountain, starting the climb, and I'm actually really sad because coming down the mountain, I wish I had the camera rolling at that time. I was trying to save the battery for when I'm really up there for the exciting roads to show you guys. But there was a group of MR2s, SW20s that were coming down there. There was an orange one and 2 black ones, I believe. I think there was 3 of them, all in a row that had totally come down from the mountains. And I gave them a thumbs up as they passed me going the other direction. But I'm sorry I didn't catch those on camera. It was really cool. Man, it would be cool to have my MR2 up here. But anyway, this car is pretty enjoyable, and we'll see how it does. So let's go over a few basic things about the Giulietta. It is a front engine, 4-door hatchback, and this particular one is a diesel, which is kind of interesting for me. Technically I have driven a diesel before, but it was actually a dump truck, so this is my first experience in a real diesel car, meaning it has a soaring red line of 4,500 RPM. That is astonishingly low to me, actually, which, you know, I think is pretty typical of diesel cars from what I know, but it's still pretty funny because that's like pretty much where I'm cruising on the highway all the time in the MR2. So the shifter has a nice throw to it. The pedals are pretty soft. The clutch has decent feel to it. Brakes feel good, and it handles quite well. The steering has a good weight to it. I don't actually know if it's electric or hydraulic or what exactly the setup is on it, but it feels good, and you know it's pretty quick ratio, relatively speaking, and it's not super heavy or super light. When I go around these curves here, it holds the road. Grip is pretty good. I'm not sure what kind of tires are on it. Probably nothing great, but even so, the car feels pretty balanced. It takes these hairpins quite well. And speed, you know, it's not like a powerhouse. You know, it's a diesel, which means it does pull decently. It has some pretty good torque, but it's not like a bullet by any means, and it gets extremely good fuel economy. I mean, I've been driving hundreds and hundreds of miles and haven't even had to fill up. So I'll take a moment to talk about the sound. It's a diesel, so it doesn't sound very exciting. That's about all I can say about that. It's a decent size. I would say it's a bit smaller than my Mazda 3, but is fairly comparable. The hatch has some decent room. It's not the biggest as far as hatchbacks goes, but you know, it's definitely sufficient. You can see that I have more than enough room to fit all of my bags and could fit a couple other people's bags in here as well. So we talked a little bit about the interior already. A couple more things about it. You'll notice that the dash is definitely very straight and flat. Like nothing's really turned towards the driver. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's just sort of evidence to me, I think, that they're making it easy to make either a right or left-hand drive car. As I said, the seats were really comfortable for the long drive down the highway and are holding me quite well here in these hairpins as well. On this car is beautiful. So I was told it was black, and unfortunately, being a rental car and doing the long highway drives, it is pretty dirty. But I don't know if you can see it in this light, but it's actually a really dark red with these glitters and sparkles in it. That is a really cool color. Overall, I'm actually not a huge fan of Alfa styling, even though that's something that they're usually praised for. I'm just not a big fan of it, but I think this Giulietta looks pretty nice. I think the grille isn't as exaggerated as it is on some other Alfas, and I think the proportions on it are quite nice. I like how these rear doors have the hidden handles. Wow, this road is absolutely incredible. Without a doubt, the best drive I've ever had. And although I'm not in the most amazing car, this little Alfa, this Giulietta, has been pretty sweet. It's had more than enough torque to move itself along in these tight hairpins, and it's just tight switchback after switchback. The handling feels great, and you know, I'm really happy with it. I think as far as like the rental options, this was a really good choice. And honestly, I could be driving almost anything and I'd be having a good time because this road is so amazing. I mean, the view is beautiful. I don't think anything could top this. And the road, I mean, look at that. I mean, here's a hairpin going straight down to another one. I mean, this is absolutely incredible. Yeah, I don't know what else to say, but it looks amazing. It's an incredible experience. If you have the opportunity, I would highly recommend driving through the Alps. In particular, this is Stelvio Pass. So I'm driving along in the car by myself, as you know, and when I came up to that scene, the words, "Oh my God," literally just came out of my mouth. Like, it looks incredible. So let's have a go.
Don't need a night so
suddenly started raining really hard. You can barely see anything. Got some thunder and lightning too. So here in Zurich, and I made this hike up here that was really pretty crazy. If you ever come to Switzerland, be careful what the Swiss call a hill. I won't even try and pronounce the name because I'll butcher it, but you can see it here. And wow, the view is amazing. Hey there, so I'm in my room here in Switzerland, and I have to say that I think Switzerland has been my favorite location of everywhere I've been so far. The drive here through the Italian Alps to the Swiss Alps was incredible. Easily makes my top 10, maybe top 5 experiences in my life. Super cool. The city of Zurich has been really cool. Everyone here is really nice, and I hope that through watching these videos, not just in Europe, but in general, that my channel has kind of showed that cars are a way to experience all kinds of cool things. Now granted, I didn't have a car for a lot of the trip. That's just because I was going to a lot of different places for very short amounts of time, and getting a car for all those places would not have been practical. But on the channel, I like to do things like going to car shows and reviews and talk about the MR2, of course, but also just kind of going to cool experiences and showing you guys cool things. And that's one of the things that I like best about cars. They can take you to so many places and show you so many cool things and add to those awesome experiences themselves. So one takeaway I want to give from all of these Europe videos is that nobody does it alone. Now this trip was 100% planned, financed, and done by myself. However, that doesn't mean I didn't get information and a lot of questions answered from friends and family like my mom, my sister, some of my awesome European followers like Kathy BLLK, iPete77, Ria2102, and some cool people I just met locally along the way during the trip. So a big shout out and thank you to all of you guys. I couldn't have done it without you. Oh, and quick note on the travel apps that I've been using. This is what has helped me through my entire journey. Airbnb, of course, has been great for finding places to stay. Hostel World has also been really good. Rome to Rio has absolutely been essential. It has been fantastic for finding out the best ways to go places, such as trains or buses or what have you. City Mapper was extremely good. It's Paris specific, so if you ever go to Paris, that's great. Uber, of course, I only had to use that like once, I think, but once in a while. There's, not really any other way to get places. Google Maps, used that a lot here in Switzerland and through my drive when I was actually driving in Italy. And Google Translate, gotta use that. It helped in quite a few situations. And lastly, I want to talk about visiting other cultures. Now, one of the really cool things about travel is that you get to see other cultures and how other people do things and the awesome things that they've made in their locations. And I highly recommend and encourage everyone to learn about and visit cultures as much as they can. However, one thing that I want to say that I think sometimes people kind of forget about is that these people's way of life are not there for your learning or entertainment. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to understand their culture. It's not there for you to understand. That being said, if you can, awesome. Like I said, I'm all down for meeting people from all over the place. I guess what I'm just saying is that be aware of boundaries, okay? don't be too much of the tourist. So this whole Europe experience was a fantastic time. I hope you enjoyed these videos. I know there were quite a few of them, but I will see you next time in California with the MR2. I miss it already.